sounded like you took a bunch of speed before doing
I'm
that.
What?
That's
Okay.
going to be bleeped. They're not going to know what you said there.
They're gonna know what you said there.
They're not.
Snowman, baby.
No, okay, bleep that too.
No, not bleeping anything.
Good evening, Degenerates, and welcome back to another episode
Yeah!
of Degen Hours. College football Week 8 has finally
Week
arrived.
ocho!
This is the week
Ocho!
everyone had circled on their calendars. There was like
Two
a
circles,
star
that
by
makes
Week
an eight.
7 and like a triple circle around Week 8 because the games are absolutely loaded. We
Show
already
'em, Ryan.
recapped.
There's
What?
an 8 right there.
Bang!
we
Week
can
8.
do it.
Bang!
8. That was sharp. That was really
That
sharp.
was good connection.
But yeah, no, Week 7 was
absolutely.
absolutely electric. We already talked to Ohio State, Oregon, game of the week. And,
Spiritual.
dude, what are you saying?
Dude,
thought-
he's just saying words.
We're on a fucking podcast. Every mic is recording.
Oh yeah.
What?
No,
Okay.
He says,
no,
do you,
no,
do
we're
you have
live.
something to say?
No,
Do
we're
you
live.
fucking have
No,
something to say?
no, we're
Go
live.
ahead.
Keep going.
It's the mic show. It's always the mic show.
No, this
It's
guy.
always
I
the
love the
fucking
mic
mic
show.
show. Mike, go ahead.
Well, Ty's real angry apparently, so I guess I'm gonna throw out the records for us. Let's see. Ryan did really well. Tyler did really well. Mario did really well. I did really shit. That's pretty typical. But how about we get into some actual
Isn't
records?
it
Ty?
crazy that he knew that without even looking at the records? Because it's the same thing every single fucking week.
Pretty
It's unbelievable. 6-12.
I also saw the
it's actually-
data before we
It's actually one
started.
of his best weeks.
Huge
It was
week.
very 6 for 18 is not bad.
6 and 12 or 6, 4, 12?
6 and 12.
Okay.
6
He likes to
4,
switch it up,
18.
you know?
But yeah, no. On the season, Ryan and I above 50%. Mario one game
Climbing
below
up.
50%, and
One
Mike
game
is
climbing up.
pretty far off 50. The Mortal
Not really
parlay
that
is totally
true.
in my bad, so I'm gonna apologize
Dude, we're so
Yeah,
close
talking
to
about
fans.
pieces of shit.
real quick.
$1,000.
Yeah, Mario hit his with the over.
In the Colorado.
Yeah, Mike hit his.
McLaren McCord, baby.
Yeah, that was a sweaty spread, but it fucking binked. And then
McLaren.
Ryan's Mortal was probably the best we've had all year.
UNLV over, baby.
The Friday night. What was that? It was UNLV,
UNLV, Utah State in the
State.
third quarter.
Yeah,
7
damn.
minutes left.
Hit early third quarter.
I might be back.
I
That was
had-
a bang.
All it took was Minnesota to win against UCLA by 5.5, and we were paying one person who is subscribed. You guys watching these videos, $1,000.
Yep.
And I was not feeling too terrible about it. All they needed was third and goal on the 5-yard line. If they don't get that, they kick a field goal, go to overtime, and we can definitely cover that fucking number in overtime. So we were all sweating out the game together, and we're like, all we need is a field goal, and they score on an out route.
That
on
hurt,
third and
yeah.
goal to
Yeah.
go win by 4
some
points to
bullshit.
5.5. So, definitely my bad. Pick wasn't fantastic, but good news is Navy's back this week. I'm not gonna spoil my Mortal, but I think we'll be fine on my end on the Mortal parlay. If you're not
fucking
subscribed, do it because we're fucking giving away money. But let's get into the games. We have some big ones to talk about. First game of the week, big one, real big one. Bama at Tennessee. Alabama 2.5 point road favorites, total 55.5. Ryan, big SEC matchup here. Both these teams have looked a little shaky, but they're both still very much in the mix.
Yep. This has been the SEC just blender of shit show that these two teams are coming together. I mean, both these teams look the opposite of how they started, with their quarterbacks looking amazing and their teams flying around. Now they're both slowed down, playing close games against nobodies, and sneaking out wins, and somehow not sneaking out wins 2 weeks ago when they both lost, or 3 weeks ago, whenever it was.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
Was it to it? Yeah. So I think it's going to be just the classic SEC who's at home, and it happens to be Tennessee, and I think that's why they're going to win. These teams are exactly alike. I think they both can score, and they both have no defense, and then sometimes they do have defense and can't score, so it's just all over the place. Tennessee, I think, has a sneaky defense that's going to give Milroe a little bit trouble, and I don't know what happened to Ryan Williams last week. It seemed like they were guarding him differently, or maybe there's like Bama couldn't get the ball out, but it seemed like he was just a little slower than usual, didn't have his take over the game moments. But yeah, I just think it'll be, we'll see how the game works out. I think this Vols team is going to shut down this Bama team, win outright, but I'll take the points. I like the under too.
Yeah, I don't have confidence in either of these teams.
Yeah,
at
tough.
all. Especially not Tennessee's offense. Yep. So I think I know what both these teams' defenses are, and I really don't think they're actually that far apart. I mean, Bama's letting everyone score. Tennessee's not they're not letting teams score a lot, but they're also not scoring a lot more than the teams they're playing. It's just the way the games are with this Tennessee offense. It just everything's all mucked up and weird, and so I think the defense maybe on paper looks a little better, but I don't know how much really better they are than Alabama's defense. But one thing I am sure of is this Tennessee offense is bad, and it has to do with Nico Collins. or Nico Collins. I'm so obsessed with him because of fantasy. That's my bad. Nico Ilimanyana, Amaliva, whatever the however the
I think they're both incorrect.
I don't know. I say his name wrong
pronunciations.
every podcast. I'm not going to start saying it right now. But this motherfucker was supposed to be, in the Heisman conversation, and he sucks. He's not good. Like, he's missing wide open receivers. He's thrown interceptions. He just has no command of this offense. His stats have looked miserable. They're trying not to make him throw the ball, but then their running game's not really moving the needle a whole lot. So then he has to throw, and then you're like, dude,
throw eventually.
Why did I bet Tennessee minus 14.5 last week, and they barely squeak out a win in overtime against Florida? So yeah, I don't think this offense can score on any defense, and Alabama's offense can score on any defense. So Bama big. Laying this 2.5 very comfortably. I would lay this number all the way up to like 8.5. I think they win this game double digits. I'm not a fan of Tennessee's offense.
Yeah, I could not agree more with you. I think this is going to be an absolute Bama blowout, and here are a couple reasons why. So, obviously Bama is known for their recruiting, especially in Nick Saban. They have an unbelievably stacked defensive roster when it comes to purely just ranking going
Recruits,
into recruits going into college. Of their 7 best players, 5 of them are on the defensive line, and which a scary thing for Tennessee, their O-line ranks 97th in the nation in terms of effectiveness. That is terrifying to me. I think Nico's inexperience and the fact that he's a freshman is going to really be shown here. I think redshirt freshman, but still a freshman.
Yeah.
I think this Bama defense is going to force him to make a lot of costly mistakes, and I don't know if he's going to be able to recover. Granted, I do say with the caveat, if Nico is able to just somehow withstand this pressure, or if the O-line magically becomes amazing, Bama's weakness is in their secondary. So that's how people have been piecing them apart. I just don't think he's going to get that opportunity because I think he's going to be under duress every fucking second he has the ball. Secondly, I also think that although the Tennessee defense has been most hindered on their secondary, their defensive line has shown to be pretty good, and I think Jalen Milroe and his rushing ability will get him out of a lot of dangerous situations. So Bama big here, and also taking the under because I think playing in Tennessee will kind of stagnate this Bama offense just a little bit, and the defense will stop Tennessee.
Gotcha. Mario?
Yeah, I agree with taking the under. I'm not as bullish on the Bama minus 2.5. That is where I'm going to be going. I think there's a reason they're favored at Tennessee. It just comes down to Nico. Listen, I'm not saying he won't be a good quarterback, but right now he just isn't. I'm trust this Bama offense way more than I trust this Tennessee offense. Mm-hmm. Defense, I think, is going to keep it close. I think it's going to be one of those weird games where Bama's always in control, but it's close. Kind of similar, actually, to last week with Ole Miss LSU, but just if Ole Miss made a couple field goals and kind of kept the LSU offense at bay, I think it'll be kind of one of those games. Mm-hmm. It could be at most 10 points. Don't really see it getting that big though. I like Bama though winning the game, and I think they're going to win at least by a field goal. So I'm taking the 2.5.
Damn.
I could see Bama winning by 6. Though.
There it is. Well, 3 of us on Bama. Ryan Lone Wolf on Tennessee. Next game, huge game in the ACC for a lot of reasons. Miami, undefeated Miami, going into Louisville, now unranked, but was ranked a couple weeks ago, around that 15 number. Spreads Miami minus 4.5 as road favorites. Total 60.5. I want to start this one. This is, I'm a Clemson guy, so this is my conference. I've watched a load of both these teams. I've watched every Miami game. I've watched 4 Louisville games. So this Louisville team is an interesting one because I don't think they're very good, but they do play teams close. So their 2 losses, they lost to Notre Dame at Notre Dame by 1 score, and then they lost at home against undefeated SMU, who's, besides Clemson and Miami, the other undefeated ACC team, by a score as well. Last week, they went into Virginia and played a really tight game and ended up winning by 4. So the last 3 games have been within a touchdown, 7 points or less. And before that, they were just, it was all the preseason whatever teams, including one of those is Georgia Tech, but still. So they played a lot of, tight games, have lost some, won the others. Miami, obviously undefeated, but their last 2 weeks have caused everyone to just, be an alarm about Miami, essentially. Barely beating Virginia Tech, last play of the game. Still controversial whether or not that was a catch. And then the Cal game last week, that was just a miracle comeback, or 2 weeks ago.
Still controversial how it wasn't targeting.
Yeah, there was a lot of weird shit going on that game, but Cam Ward had his Heisman drive. Look, what I think this comes down to, I'm not saying Miami's going to go in there and blow them out, because Miami hasn't shown me their ability to do that against a good team yet. But I don't think Louisville has what it takes to hang with this offense. They're going to have to score a lot of points. That's the only way these teams are hanging with Miami. If you look at it, Virginia Tech scored 34 in regulation. Cal scored 38. Louisville hasn't really been doing that. I mean, they've scored 24, 27, 24, and then their other games, they scored 31 in week 3. But I don't think they have the firepower to do this against Miami, and I think Cam Ward can score on this. They're not like an elite defense at Louisville, so I think he scores. So I think you're going to be pretty comfortable laying this number. I'm not picking totals in college, but if I'm on the totals, I'm going way under in this game. Like the total 60.5, I think Miami gets in the 30s. I think Louisville very likely could be in the teens or maybe sneak in the 20s. I think you have a nice, 7-point cushion on this over-under. So I would, pick an under if I was, but I never bet it. And then I'm definitely laying the 4.5 with Miami.
Damn, I'm not. I mean, if you've watched this podcast, I'm not on Miami at all.
Yeah.
I think they're exactly what they are. It's behind Cam Ward in this offense. He's an amazing quarterback. So if he decides to just go crazy and go nuts, they'll win. Louisville scores out. I know Tyler's saying they don't. They've scored under 27, I think, once.
At home, they score.
Yeah, I mean, even
in the last 3 weeks, they haven't scored over 27 points.
But how many games were on the road? Like 2 of those, right?
Well, yeah. What I'm saying is week 1, they played Austin P.
Yeah.
So they scored 62.
Yeah.
Still
Week
gotta
2,
score
they
at
played
home.
Jacksonville State. So
Still
not a
score.
real team. So they played 2 non-real teams and scored a bunch of points. And then they had Georgia Tech at home, which was 31. That was their best opponent. And then they haven't scored over 27 since then.
Yeah.
But I'm
So,
saying their lowest score is 24 points. That doesn't, in my opinion, mean you are at all can't score. And Miami lets everyone score in their mother. I mean, there's no way you could tell me that Cal has a good offense or Virginia Tech has a good offense. I mean, this Louisville team, I think, will be fine scoring. I love the over, actually. I think there's going to be a million. It's that high for a reason. 16.5 points is a ton of points. I mean, every week there's a trap or something. It won't be a trap this week. So this is a Miami team, and they just give up a lot of points, and they win. If they're going to win, which they probably will, who knows what happens, they're going to have to win scoring a lot of points. It will not be on their defense. They have shown zero defense. So I like a lot of points, and I'm just taking the home team because I don't think Miami covers. They haven't done it, and I don't think they will. So
Louisville in the over.
Correct.
Miami in the under.
correct.
Mike.
Yeah, sorry, Ryan, I could not disagree more. I also, just spotlighting one thing, putting 24 points is definitely in that unbelievably terrible category of offenses. The reason I say that is because Michigan.
what?
The reason why I say that is because Michigan is averaging 23.5 points, so a half point below what you said, and they rank 102nd.
Yeah,
in the
Louisville's
nation.
not averaging this. That's just the games they played against Notre Dame in Notre Dame.
2
SMU, a
road
ranked
games.
SMU, and a road Virginia game.
I mean,
Okay.
They're probably averaging 40 points a game or whatever, or 30 points a game with the 60-point game.
Okay, well, I stand corrected then. I kind of just pulled that.
In the last 3 games,
I pulled
see
that
what you're
just
saying.
because. Yeah, I
In the
pulled that
last
just
3
because you
games,
highlighted
correct.
the
If you take
24.
the last 3 games.
But I think first and foremost, I think the bye week that Miami is coming off of is going to do them absolute wonders. I think playing a really close game, a nail-biting game against Virginia Tech, and then going into a super long travel, going into Cal, really just kind of wears down your team, especially because it's like it's just a lot of time traveling, which is weary. But I think also focusing on those past 2 games, Cam Ward has thrown a pick 6 in both of those, and both those games ended within a touchdown. I am very confident that does not happen this game. The reason why I say it's not going to happen is because Louisville ranks 129th out of 134 teams in terms of an interception per game. They get 0. And not only that, but Cam Ward can run. And out of every single FBS team that Louisville has played this year, so not Austin PD or Jacksonville State or whatever, the quarterback has emerged as a leading rusher of the team. Cam Ward is going to absolutely cook this team on the ground. Bet whatever his rushing yards is, bet the over of that. And
like that.
I am confident in taking Miami minus 4.5.
He's also played rushing quarterbacks, though. Cam Moore's not a rushing quarterback. Like,
but he can run.
Kevin Jennings on
definitely
SMU,
runs.
rushing quarterback. Riley Leonard on Notre Dame, an absolutely rushing quarterback. So, like,
He definitely runs though.
he doesn't choose to run like Riley Leonard or Kevin
It's like a
Jennings.
scramble
it's not his
design run.
It's
Yeah,
not his
those
first
are
choice,
huge.
but like
It's
he
not
can
design
definitely.
run.
Yeah,
I was just
okay.
talking about
I see what
you
you're
were
saying.
comparing against other teams.
I see
But
what you're
I see what you're
saying.
How are
saying.
you feeling, Mario?
Yeah, I actually really like Louisville in this spot. I thought, 3 weeks ago when Miami had that close run in with Virginia Tech, was
Yeah.
it? Yeah, I thought like, okay, maybe it's just a fluke. And then they followed it up with Cal, who is the same, if not maybe worse, and they, probably should have lost that game.
Yeah.
I think I know exactly kind of what Ryan said, honestly. I know exactly what this Miami team is. They don't have a great defense. That's just a fact. Their offense is good, but at the same time, it goes as Cam Ward goes. And I've said my piece about Cam Ward. I think he's really talented, but he's also like very, very lackadaisical. So he has a lot of throws where he's going to throw off platform and kind of really loose. And, that's why he has those turnovers for a reason. He's not the most disciplined player. Louisville, I like their ability to score. I like their defense, just staying close with this Miami team. So I like Louisville plus the 4.5. And I will be betting the over because I think they're going to outright win. And to do that, they're going to have to score
Score a lot,
over
yeah.
30 points.
No, yeah, Cam's going to score for sure.
And the last game, if you are paying attention,
game.
this last game's not going to be the Georgia-Texas game. We filmed that separately.
Yeah.
So that's
You're
coming
welcome.
out, that's
You're
coming out tomorrow
welcome.
on Friday. Whole separate episode. You get to hear Texas Mike talk about his Longhorns taking on the
Hook 'em
Bulldogs
fucking
in
horns,
Austin.
baby.
But this last game, Michigan at Illinois, Michigan minus 3.5, total 43.5. Mario, I'm coming back to you here. Both these teams, they're on the very edge of the rankings. So this one, a win will help push one of these teams in, further one of these teams out.
You said 3.5?
Michigan minus 3.5.
Michigan minus 3.5. Okay, that moved since the last time I saw it. It doesn't make a difference. I like Illinois in this spot. I think it's just going to be one of those just tough defensive games, as every Michigan game is. But the difference is, I think I just like Illinois' ability to score just more consistently. This Michigan team gets points in weird ways, whether it's like a broken tackle for the running back getting a 60-yard touchdown, or like maybe I don't know. There's just they don't have a consistent offense. At least Illinois.
Definitely right about that.
Yeah, and Illinois, they're gonna have a tough challenge against this Michigan defense. But at the same time, I trust their ability to move the ball more. The Illinois' defense isn't. I mean, I thought it was solid until Purdue.
Purdue scored
Purdue all
the
of a sudden
100-point game. Yeah,
was looking like
Jesus.
Tom Brady or what Drew Brees was still
Drew
there.
Brees, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, just give me Illinois plus the points. I'm fine taking it.
Mike.
I unfortunately cannot talk about this game until later.
Wow. What a mortal lock. If you're following along, he's picking this
Whoa.
game, either a spread or a total
Wow,
for his
this
mortal.
is the most disgusting game I've ever seen.
Yeah, so neither of these teams has shown me anything to think that they're somewhat average or decent. Nothing. There's been absolutely nothing. Neither team has beat a team that's currently ranked. Yeah. So the fact that either of these teams are ranked is kind of fucking nuts. And then Michigan lost their most recent game by 10 to an unranked Washington, who then lost last week 40-16 against unranked Iowa. So it's a fucking shit show over here. A 4-2 Michigan is ranked because of their name. Don't get that twisted. They have beat nobody. They haven't beaten a ranked team.
Big Ten's frauds.
No, yeah, they're bad. And then what?
Big Ten are frauds. Some of the teams in the Big Ten are.
Oh well, these two
there's
teams.
two
These
teams
two teams
out
are.
of the rest of them.
Yeah, and then obviously Illinois, their loss came to their only currently ranked team. They played at Penn State. They did only let Penn State score 21 points, but I am much more confident in taking a home dog in a whatever game in the Big Ten than I am in laying points with a Michigan offense that really hasn't been able to score. We saw they could barely put up points in Washington.
Yeah, no.
I think Washington's maybe a little worse than Illinois. I mean, definitely worse, probably. I don't know.
No, I mean-
Illinois, all these teams are like the same to me. And so I'm taking the home dog plus 3.5. There's no reason Michigan should be 3.5 point favorites.
I mean, they could. This game could be 13-10, and no one would be.
No one gives a fuck. Yeah, no.
Yeah, this game is I like Illinois a lot and I like Luke Altmaier. But the only thing I looked was this line. It made no sense. I opened at 1.5, went to 3.5, and I think it's gonna go up even more considering I think every single dime is gonna be on this. All the sharp money is gonna be on Michigan. So I just am taking this purely because of the line. I agree these teams are both just a mix. Anything can happen, but I'm just taking it because the line, I think it'll go to 4.5 would be too big. And only because of the line. I have no opinion on either of these teams doing anything, but I think just because.
All the bets and all the money. So both, like, everyone who's
Everything
betting
is
so
on
far is
Michigan.
on Michigan.
Yeah, I just think they're gonna have to put this number up and up because it's gonna get too much on one side for Vegas.
Yeah,
So,
maybe wait if you can get Illinois plus 5.
I would wait if you're on Illinois for sure.
Slap that shit around.
But yeah,
But there you have it. That was the games. I think it's time to tell everyone all the picks.
oh yeah, I'm ready.
Oh yeah, best part.
All right, hopping into these picks,
get it.
starting like I do every week.
Oh yeah, baby.
Colorado plus 3.5 against Arizona, and Colorado, Arizona.
They
over.
covered last week, baby.
They did
That's
cover
a
last
shot.
week. And Colorado, Arizona over 55.5. That mortal hit last
was
week as well.
beautiful.
Also going Georgia Tech plus 11.5 against
Techies.
Notre Dame.
Your
Shout
two
out Georgia Tech.
wagons.
My two teams. Wagons. Starting with the games we already talked about. Georgia plus 3.5 against Texas. Alabama minus 2.5 against Tennessee. Louisville plus the 4.5 against Miami. And Miami, Louisville over 60.5. And Illinois plus 3.5 against Michigan. Now for the games that we have not talked about, Oregon minus 27.5 against Purdue. BYU minus 9.5 against Oklahoma State. Missouri minus 5.5 against Auburn. Nebraska plus 6.5 against Indiana. Clemson, shout out Tyler, minus 21.5 against Virginia. Absolute wagons. Northern Illinois minus 2.5 against Toledo. A little sus, but I'm taking Northern Illinois. James Madison University. Oh, what a university. Minus 9.5 against Georgia Southern. And JMU, Georgia Southern, over 58.5. USC, fight on. Minus 7.5 against Maryland. Texas A&M, minus 14.5 against Mississippi State. LSU, go Tigers, minus 2.5 against Arkansas. Kentucky, plus the 1.5. They're going to win outright at Florida. UNLV, minus 7.5 against Oregon State. NC State, plus 9.5 against Cal. And Cal, NC State, over 46.5. Tulane, minus 21.5 against Rice.
Holy car!
That is a
That's what I like
card.
to hear. Biggest card of the year by far.
Yeah, by a mile.
How you doing?
Week 8, baby.
Tell me you're back,
okay.
eh?
Wow.
Go!
I am doing the opposite strategy,
Progressive Mike.
Progressive.
putting significantly larger units on less picks.
Sure.
Let's get back to
Probably,
50%, baby.
Larger units and larger picks.
Based solely off principle, while we are still number one, and while we will remain number one until we win the Natty, hook 'em horns, Texas minus 3.5 going against Georgia, and Texas, Georgia under 55.5. Moving, actually, you guys will hear about that game tomorrow. But moving into your games that we have already covered, Bama minus 2.5 at Tennessee, Miami minus 4.5 at Louisville, and moving on to your games that we haven't talked about. I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, for the first time ever, I'm going to support the Mormons here. BYU minus 9.5 going against OK State. Oklahoma State, you are asshole.
You are just asshole. You're not an asshole. You're just asshole.
You are asshole.
Mike
Yeah.
knows all about those.
Also, BYU,
Backdoor.
Oklahoma State over 55.5. Indiana minus 6.5 versus Nebraska. Clemson, shout out Clemson, minus 21.5 against Virginia versus Virginia. Mizzou, Old Missouri, minus 5.5 against Auburn.
Sure.
Down with the Auburn. South Carolina plus 2.5
He has
at
no idea
Oklahoma.
what their mascot is.
Ooh.
Oklahoma sucks.
coming.
We waxed them. Georgia Tech, shout out the Techies, plus 11.5 against Notre Dame. Notre
Love the
Dame
Techies.
sucks.
Yellow Jackets.
LSU, like I said, give them their flowers. They're due for it. LSU minus the 2.5 going against Arkansas.
screwed.
Arkansas, their ass. And lastly but not
Not like
leastly, UNLV minus 7.5 going against the Beavers, the Badgers, the
Mike, you love a beaver, don't you?
Oregon State Beavers.
You love a good beaver.
Very nice, Mike.
Yeah.
Well, he's a big beaver guy. I've been heating up.
Get hot, kid.
The Cards have been a lot better. 3 weeks ago, I had a really rough time in college and NFL. It was just a death weekend for me. Since then, we've been really getting hot. Last week, a few games over 50%, so over 500. So we're gonna keep that going here. First game, we already talked about it. Alabama minus 2.5. Really like that spot. Miami minus 4.5. Illinois plus 3.5. And spoiling what I'm going to tell you tomorrow about the Georgia-Texas game, Georgia plus 3.5. Games we haven't talked about. Duke minus 3.5 at home against FSU on Friday night. This is just free. Dude, I don't want to be a square. I know it's a square side. Sharp money's going to come in on Florida State. As sharp money comes in on Florida State every fucking week. And it's not going to hit because Florida State's really bad and they all gave up. So Duke, take it and you're going to be happy. BYU, I'm riding Mike with the Mormons. Minus 9.5 at home against OK State. Clemson, minus 21.5 at home against Virginia. Look, since Georgia, we have won and covered every single game.
Wagon.
It's a lot easier at home as well. So I love our home advantage. I love our defense this year. And Cade sneaking in to the top 5 in Heisman conversation. Don't count him out just yet. Army, minus 14.5 at home against ECU. ECU gets blown out by bad teams.
Crushed.
And Army is a good team. So this is a walk in the park. Don't know why that line moved down from 15.5 to 14.5, but I'll take the extra point. Thank you, Vegas. ASU plus 2.5 at Cincinnati. I like the way this Arizona State team is moving. Their young head coach, I think they said he might have been, I think he's the youngest Power 4 head coach in football, was super pumped last week, massive upset win, and I think they keep it rolling here against Cincinnati. No reason to think they slow down. Notre Dame minus 11.5 at Georgia Tech. Notre Dame's just much better than Georgia Tech is. Georgia Tech started out hot, but we didn't realize that FSU was that bad, so we thought they were better than they were. They're really not that great. Notre Dame is starting to get things clicking, so
click.
Ride with Notre Dame here. Cal minus 9.5 at home against NC State. Nothing to say there. Chalk. Colorado plus 3.5 at Arizona. Woo. They win that outright. I like the way they played in the fourth quarter. This offense is still going to be able to move around, and I think Travis Hunter's a go. When he wasn't playing the entire second half of last game, which I think would have made a really big difference.
He's out in the first half.
Yeah. Oh, did he not play the whole game?
I thought he got out in the first quarter, yeah.
Okay, yeah. And I was going to say, he might have not played the second quarter as well. But LSU minus 2.5 at Arkansas. Look, we talked about this in the earlier episode. I love LSU going forward in the SEC. I think they kind of run the table. I think it starts here with a very convincing win over Arkansas. Iowa State minus 13.5 at home against UCF. Kansas State minus 3.5 at West Virginia. Fuck West Virginia. I almost put them on the card, then I just flipped the pick because fuck West Virginia. And SMU minus 14.5 at Stanford. I think this SMU team really walks for the rest of the year.
That's my team. I love SMU. All right, starting the card off, how Tyler said to. I mean, this is a murder, Friday night murder. Duke minus 3.5 for Florida State. Florida State sucks. Oregon, Purdue over 59.5 and Oregon team total over 43.5 murder. Colorado, Arizona over 55.5 and Colorado team total over 26.5. Shout out Travis Hunter being back. Army team total over 33.5. Those freaking forces score. Yeah. Any forces, they score. Indiana minus 6.5 versus Nebraska. Indiana's a quiet, hot team. No one's talking about. They're good. Wisconsin, Northwestern under 41.5. Terrible Big Ten teams. Virginia, Clemson over 57.5 and Clemson minus 21.5. I'm going to bet it until it misses. It's on fire. Louisiana minus 3.5 versus Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina down. Everything hate. Auburn, Missouri under 51.5. Both these teams suck. Oklahoma minus 2.5 for South Carolina. I hate both these teams also. Washington State minus 19.5 versus Hawaii. Washington State, Mateer scores $1 million free. Cal minus 9.5 for NC State. I like this Cal team. They're kind of nice. They're kind of freaky. NC State sucks. Notre Dame, Georgia Tech over 49.5. They're going to score a lot. I don't know who wins or score a lot. Navy minus 16.5 for Charlotte. Another Forces team. Wagon, murder, kill. Michigan, Illinois over 43.5. I have no idea how, but they're going to score points. Kansas, Houston under 46.5. Houston, great defense, terrible team. Bowling Green minus 20.5 versus Kent State, worst team in the country. And also Bowling Green, Kent State over 55.5 murder. Tennessee plus 2.5 versus Alabama. We already talked about that. Texas State minus 9.5 versus Old Dominion. My sneaky new cover team, I love them. No. New Mexico, Utah State over 78.5 because New Mexico team total over 39.5 and Utah State team total over 37.5. This overhit last week with 7 minutes in the third quarter against Utah State UNLV. It was a murder. I loved it.
The best model
Texas
so
State,
far.
I'm absolutely correct. Texas A&M, Mississippi State under 56.5. No points. LSU, Arkansas under 54.5. More no points. Vanderbilt, Ball State over 58.5. Love Vanderbilt. Great team. North Texas, Memphis over 66.5. North Texas team total over 27.5. Iowa State minus 13.5 for UCF. Iowa State's kind of nice. Don't sleep on them. They went up in the rankings. I don't know how. Georgia, Texas over 55.5 because Texas murders them. Texas minus 3.5 for Georgia. Kill. Kansas State, West Virginia over 54.5 because I hate West Virginia. Colorado State minus 7.5 versus Air Force. Might be one of the worst Forces teams ever seen in the history of the planet. TCU, Utah over 49.5. SMU minus 14.5 for Stanford. SMU, Stanford over 54.5. And how I end every fucking card. SMU
team total over.
34.5, baby.
Bang!
That was
Woo!
sounded like you took a bunch of speed before doing
I'm
that.
fucking I'm fucked up.
What?
That's
Okay.
gonna be bleeped. They're not gonna know what you said there.
Woo!
They're gonna know what you said there.
They're not.
Snowman, baby.
No, okay, bleep that too.
No, not bleeping anything.
No bleeps.
I'm not
You
bleeping
gotta
nothing.
bleep it. You
I'm
gotta
not
bleep
bleeping it.
Dime.
Shout out Progressive Mike.
I'm
Don't
not
be
bleeping
progressive
it.
on that
He's
one.
progressive.
Shout out Flo, because I'm flowing.
That was all the picks we're
Whoa.
taking.
Name your
this
Ketchup
week.
packet.
Name your price tool. That was all the picks we're taking this week. If you're new here and you're not familiar with what we do at the end of the show, it's called the Mortal Lock Parlay. It's essentially us giving you money every week, and we're just betting it for you on the bets we like. We hit 3 weeks ago, and we paid one of you $450. That was because there was only 3 of us in the parlay. All 4 of us are active now. It means we pay $1,000. We were literally 1.5 points off.
1.5 points
on just my pick from paying $1,000 last week. We're dialing it in this week, and we're gonna tell you the picks right now that you're gonna be sweating. You just got to be subscribed. You got to comment and like the videos. Ryan, start us off. Who is the first leg of the parlay?
Oh my God, I love this so much. You know, I was throwing around picks. It's a tough week when there's a lot of good games there. You know what? You want to get cute. You want to get fun.
Yeah.
All that shit. Tyler's going to love this. So I'm going with a great Forces team. I'm
Dial
not
in.
taking away from his Forces team. Army minus 14.5 versus East Carolina.
Woo!
Let me tell you something right now. This East Carolina team
We go
is
marching.
They're bad.
terrible. They're terrible. They ranked outside the top 80 in everything. Defense,
No, they're-
offense, special teams,
they get blown
coaching.
up by everyone.
Blown up by everyone. And Army's 10th in the league in total defense. They're unbelievable defense, and they're top 20 in offense. They score like fucking crazy. I have their team total over. It's 33.5. They're going to score a million. I love this game. The only team East Carolina's beat was a 107th ranked team, Old Dominion. That was the only highest team they beat. Everything else was a non-D1 school and terrible. This should be a murder, and I love it. Put your life on it. Go Forces.
Yeah. If you've been watching the show,
take a wild
you know
guess.
where I'm going here.
Always wins.
We're really supporting the country this week.
Woo!
The spread, the Mortal is Navy minus 16
From
and a
land to
half
sea.
at home
Hell
against
yeah, baby.
Charlotte. I'm going to give you some info on this game as I do with every Navy pick because I'm not just blind tailing them. I think they're actually mispriced, and I think they continue to be. So I've said all season I will continue to bet Navy until this gets adjusted, until I think they put fair spreads on these games. Navy has won and covered every single spread. They are the 6th highest scoring team in all of college football and the 22nd best defense in all of college football. They have an unbelievable offense, unbelievable defense, and have won and covered every spread. This team is a fucking wagon. Their quarterback, Blake Horvath, still the #1 player in the country when it comes to quarterback rating overall. He's playing a flawless season, highest yards per attempt of any quarterback in major college football, ahead of Curtis Rourke, Cam Ward, Bryson Daly, and Cade Klubnik. Bryson Daly, also #4 in that, is Army's quarterback. Shout out.
Ayo.
Bang. QBR. Charlotte, to the flip side, who we're playing, this is also a home game for Navy, by the way. So Charlotte's coming in on the road. They are 3-3, have lost to every decent or semi-decent team they've played. Charlotte lost to James Madison by 23, North Carolina by 18, Indiana by 38.
Beautiful.
The 3 teams they beat. Gardner-Webb by 1, Rice by 1, and the dog shit East Carolina.
Oh, I love that.
Army
I
play.
mean, I'm obsessed
So,
with that.
I mean, this Charlotte team is no good. Navy continues to be disrespected due to their playing style and tier of opponents. I think this changes actually next week after they've beat Notre Dame, in my opinion. But until then, we are mortaling Navy plus 16.5. This is a fucking wagon.
Woo-wee.
I love that, and I love supporting our country. So go the 2 armed forces teams.
Just don't bet Air Force.
No,
Yeah,
no
just bet
force,
against-
no
just don't-
force,
just
no
don't bet
force.
Air Force.
But we go marching with the Army, and
go.
we're gonna
Yeah,
swim
Navy.
across the world with the Navy. Let me take you back in time a little bit to one of the highlight marquee games, and that is Michigan, Illinois. My mortal for that game is Illinois plus the 3.5, and here is the reason why.
Wow.
So, this Michigan team
been hot.
is absolutely miserable offensively. That is highlighted by their vertical threat or their passing game, which ranks 131st out of 134 teams in college football. That is abysmal.
Not great.
As an offense total, they rank 102nd, averaging just 23.5 points per game. They're going against Illinois, who is ranked 49th in the nation, averaging 31. Granted, it's not a significant amount more, but in ranking terms, it is a giant gap between the two. When we look at Michigan as a team and look at what positives they may have, we're going to look at the defense, right? Defensively, they rank 56th in the nation. They allow just 23.3 points per game, 22.3 points per game. Illinois, nobody really talks about them, but They have a better defense as in total, averaging just 20 points allowed per game, ranking them 32nd in the nation. If we take a step back, not look so deep at all the stats and all that shit, let's look at the head coach. Head coach for Illinois, his name is Brett Bielema. Never heard of him in my life, but guess what? When he was the head coach of Wisconsin, he went 3-2 against Michigan specifically. I love that he knows how to just fuck up this school. Secondly, on the season, Illinois has been unbelievable against the spread. They are a 4-1-1 record, which gives them 80%. And they are 5-0 against the spread when they are underdogs. That is beautiful. Third, and my final point here is Michigan is 1-5 against the spread and 2-6 out of the last 8 games specifically against Illinois. Wow. I am taking Illinois plus 3.5 here. That is my mortal, and it's going to be my biggest bet of the week and probably of the past couple weeks here.
Wow, you really dug into those numbers.
I fucking love this team.
I like it, Mike. All right, 5-2 Immortals, hottest on the show.
Tied with Mario,
Someone
baby.
who's tied with you is Mario. So these are the 2 hottest picks we do give out. So they are.
A lot of games I liked, but not a lot of games that
You
were
loved.
really gripping me until
No one gripped you.
until I had to sift through.
Sift through the grip.
Yeah, I had to get
really
through.
feel it.
You see the marquee games, the Georgia, the Bama, Tennessee. You
Lot
have to
of
sift
names.
through that.
Lot of letters.
Then you get to the mid tier. You see some SMUs in there, but you got to get really low.
Real low.
No. The team that I'm mortaling this week, listen, they love to score. The team they're playing can put up 17, and that's all we'll need from them because the team we're mortaling is Tulane. It's going to be Tulane Rice over 54.5.
Holy smokes.
Tulane might hit this on their own.
I like it.
Tulane
Wow,
might
what
hit
a
this-
game.
Tulane Rice.
Wow, that's a
Tulane
hell of a
Rice
game right there.
over
Tulane
50.
Is
Rice.
that a weekend game or is that a Friday game?
It's a weekend game.
Do we know? Okay, so everything's on the
It's
weekend.
on Saturday.
Well, there you have it.
Damn.
You win $1,000 if you're subscribed. You drop a comment right now saying I'm riding the Mortalox parlay. Tulane Rice over Illinois plus the points, and then the 2 Armed Forces Stallions
Staying undefeated
both
and covering
Bang,
ranked
baby.
every game.
Going to continue to be so. Those 4 picks hit $1,000 in your pocket. All you gotta do is support the channel. We're almost at I think 1.2k subs.
Yeah, right,
We're
right.
getting really close, which is fucking crazy. 'cause
moving and grooving,
we just hit
baby.
1,000
Moving and
like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whatever. So shout out to you guys for supporting. You guys are fucking awesome. The support juices us up. Channels are going crazy. Mario, before we leave and let the people go enjoy the
Give me
rest
an
of their
outro,
Thursday,
kid. Give me
let
an
them know what to
outro.
do.
We all love outros.
I
We
want
all-
an outro.
We all love outros.
Give
we
it
all
to
love,
me.
We all love picks. See how I weave and bring it back. Crappy pick of the
See how
week.
I
I'm not
weave.
leaving it
Hey,
out. What down?
CBLW.
I'm not leaving it
See,
By
out.
the way, what's his
BLGW.
record? Did
I
he
forgot.
hit it last week?
Well, I'll tell you his
missed-
record. I'll tell you his
he missed
record.
last
Oh, God. It
He's
must have been
3-4
murder.
in
Oh,
crappy pick of the
God.
week.
Three
He's
and
not
four.
the best.
Let's get
He's
back
not
to
the
back to
best.
500. Back to 500.
He's
the
really
crappy
not the
pick of the
best.
week. Not too different than my pick, honestly. It's going to be Coastal Carolina plus 3.5 against Louisiana.
Holy shit.
If I do recall, Ryan was on Louisiana.
I was
so
all
don't know.
over Big
So
Louisiana.
I don't know. This
Might be sharp.
crappy pick of the week. Hey, let's see.
It's
let's see if we
crappy,
can-
you know?
One of y'all have to be right.
You don't have
Yeah,
to love it.
You don't have to love it.
And let's bring it back to the
outro.
outro. See how I just
Hey,
bobbed and weaved.
bob and
I'm in the
weave,
pocket
yeah.
You
right
always
now.
bring it back.
Boom.
No,
Muhammad
You always
Ali.
bring it back.
Listen, we're giving you
Lord.
$1,000.
It's free.
$1,000. All you have to do is subscribe.
000.
That's exactly what Progressive Mike said. All you have to do, leave a like, leave a comment, share this video with a friend. Make sure you subscribe. Go in the comments, type in "I want $1,000" or Mike is great at picking. Whatever.
Beautiful.
True.
All
Fade
true.
Mike, let's bring it back. We
Bring
Fuck
back
you.
Fade Mike.
yeah, I
Shout
haven't
out
seen
Ed.
it. It's
He's
been-
not only the worst in NFL, he's also the worst in college.
Hold
you.
down.
So, Fade Mike. Except
And-
for Mortals, ride that shit.
And let's get some Georgia fans in the comments as well to give
We
Mike
got
a
it.
good time.
We have to.
No. I know the notification bell. Okay, and you want to know when these videos are posted, so you better turn on that notification bell.
Ooh, God damn.
Ow! Ding! Ding! Ding!
That's racist.
He loves making loud noises. He has a very long middle name. Anyways,
Slow that down.
we'll see you guys next week.
I'll see you next week. Enjoy the
Bye.
weekend.
Hook 'em horns, baby.